Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
So welcome back, you guys. It's your girl, Moni.
And this is Kat.
And we're the Fake Ass Book Club, guys. We're glad to see you. You made it back.
Yeah.
How you feeling today, friend?
Well, thank you for asking. I'm actually feeling pretty good. I've been getting lots of rest, drinking lots of water, and blocking out negative energy. How about you?
Yeah, same. I mean, minus I probably could have been drinking more water this week, but I'm feeling good. I'm glad to be here. It's a weekend, and we have a really fun episode to get into today. Today we have a very special guest joining us, Tasha Marie, and she is here with us. And we're going to talk about her journey of advocacy for recovery and healing and mental health. And she's going to be featured in the 4th season of Naptown Narratives. So I'm really excited to get into that. And so, yeah, we're going to get to know her journey, her healing journey, and all of those fun things. So, guys, before we do, let's dedicate the show like always. So hands over your hearts, everyone. I wanted to dedicate this episode, as always, to our patrons. You guys are the real MVPs. We truly appreciate your continued support for this show. If you are not a Patreon member, you guys can find us over at Patreon, the F.A.B podcast. We got lots of bonus content over there for you guys. Also, I wanted to dedicate this episode to Banned Book Week. We really didn't go hard about it. I know we talk about it a lot. We've reviewed a lot of books that are banned books, but I think it's really crucial to celebrate that because we want to celebrate our freedom to read and have information. And I also feel like a lot of the stories that get banned are our stories. Marginalized groups, Black people, women, Indigenous. So a lot of these stories really tap into our identity and our lived experience, and it's important to share that. So I really wanted to make sure that we shouted out Banned Book Week. Yeah. And what about you, friend? What's your dedication?
Yes. And I wanted to shout out Hispanic History Month.
Let's do it.
Knowing that, everyone in that population doesn't even necessarily like the term Hispanic it's fair to point out. But our Spanish brothers and sisters, I would just encourage everybody to do as much research and any events that are going on, educate yourself, because we've been fed a lot of myths about what we consider Hispanic and Chicano and Spanish, all these different things, and the fact that somehow it's divorced from Blackness. It's not. So it's definitely worth looking into. So yeah. Buena.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Tasha?
I'm gonna dedicate this one to my students, very specifically my boo, my poo, Shamaya. Today's her birthday.
Oh,
yeah, she turned 19. But my students are the main driving force, especially now. After my mom passed, I struggled to really find motivation to keep going, and they was just right there nah, you still got us, let's go. So yeah, I do this for them.
I love that energy. So, dedication over, friend?
Dedication over.
Yeah, that was nice.
Nailed it.
I love it. So I just wanted to reiterate the fact that we are highlighting Tasha Marie today because she's a part of Naptown Narratives, which is a docuseries featuring a collection of stories that share why Naptown is filled with promise and culture. Every one of the stories that they highlight has a profound impact on the movement in our city. So specifically, season 4 is featuring Tasha Marie, but
because that thing sold out.
It sold out. Oh, actually, listen. You just said that to me. Here I am in the past.
Yeah.
My
in the
God,
past. It's over.
We're in
You
the
missed
past,
it.
you guys, sorry.
All you can feel now is FOMO.
Just
Sorry.
be lucky we got her here.
Yeah.
So
but
that y'all
we've
can
been
hear
to
about
an
it.
event before.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, it's very,
yes, we have.
very. I'm glad we went. We met so many positive people. I think we were able to do a writing exercise, which was really
beautiful.
nice.
Cool.
Yeah, shout out to Murdoch too, because I'm
listen.
I think the impact of highlighting stories here locally, Black creators, really does kind of tap into what I was saying about the banned books and really centering our stories and our perspectives, and it's really important to do. So I want to congratulate you because I feel like congratulations on being highlighted.
Gratitude.
And I'm curious to know, can you share with us what it means to you to have your story highlighted in that
Honestly,
way?
it's a dream come true. Okay. I'm an only child of an only child, so 101, right?
Let's hear it. I'm also a solo child.
Come on.
Single children.
Yes. And so, growing up, I didn't know a lot about my family growing up, come to know more now, but didn't know a lot about them. And so I always had this idea of I want my story to be told, especially as I started to navigate, having to parent my parent because she was struggling with addiction and mental illness. And then I had my own struggles with addiction and mental illness. I was like, I want my story to be told by me, with me, not, after I'm gone or, 20 years down the line after I done made it and all of these different things. Like, if I could ever have my story told in real time, I would love to. So there's always been a dream of mine. So this just, I still can't wrap my head around it for real. Like, I feel like I'm gonna be in the theater like, what the? But no, I'm really excited. I think what has me just a little down is that my mom isn't here to see it. It's been tough to kind of feel the full excitement at times because it's like, my girl ain't here, man. And I know she's here in spirit. And I know she's just cheesing and like, you did it, Tosh. But it would have been dope for her to see this too. Because my mom told me I could do anything. Like, she was always like, even I don't care if I was mediocre at it. Like, she was like, you should open a business. You should do that. So, but no, it's cool. Like, this little girl from the South Side gets to have her story told in such a beautiful way. And again, shout out to Murdoch, shout out to Lakeisha for the opportunity. She is the woman behind the production company that, did everything. So, I mean, it just, yeah, it's life-changing, for real.
I love that. I love the, I saw the flyer.
Yeah.
It's so artfully done. I'm like, this looks so, not that I'm surprised it looks professional, but I just want to, shout out to all of the people who are doing the production and stuff. It just looks so polished and professional, and you look amazing in it. And
it's been beautiful to kind of watch it evolve over time, too. It only gets better. So I'm excited for them as well. Like, I feel like for all of this, this is just going to be such a huge blessing for the next chapter.
I love it. Yeah. So then what would you say, what's the most impactful part of being able to share your story? You know what I mean? Like, you've been waiting for this platform, you're excited to be here, but what's the impact that has?
Going back to my students, I believe that all stories have significance.
So when you say your students,
yes. So I'm a mentor. Okay. And so I have a nonprofit, Mercy, MRCI, Minority Recovery Collective, Inc. And so we offer peer support, and peer support is really just a mental health service that allows people kind of like that first step before therapy, before you really doing the work, just acknowledging that, you know what, I could probably be living better. And so we provide that support for people who want to live well, who want to maybe start their recovery journey, don't know how, maybe in their recovery journey, may have had a moment of reoccurrence and just wanting some encouragement to get back on the path. And so it's been 4 years, man. I was about to say about a year or two, but 4 years ago, we decided to pivot as an organization and work more with students, young people. We noticed that they kind of naturally gravitated towards us. And if I'm gonna speak personally for myself, I don't really like working with adults all that much.
Well, there's a lot of times a resistance to change where children are looking for something else. Like they're a lot easier. I feel like that was in the Matrix where they was like, yep, you can't free a mind after a certain point. Yeah.
Indeed. And so we switch into working with young people. Like, I love it. Like, it's so amazing to kind of just watch their lights turn on. You know what I mean? When they kind of get a concept, whether it's about mindfulness, whether it's, about substance use prevention, whether it's about recovery. We cover a gambit of topics in our program, but it's just really cool to see them connecting the dots. And so for me, the impact is letting them know, like, no matter where life takes you in your journey, someone will be positively impacted by your story. Somebody needs to hear what you went through, how you got through it, and what you're doing now that you're on the other side of it, because you never know how that may help someone else. So I think that's probably the most impactful thing.
I love that. I mean, honestly, just watching you light up talk about it, I think this is the part. So, like, when we met you at CCC Unstoppable event last time, we only had like a couple of minutes to really talk to you. So it was kind of like a speed interview. But the thing that stood out to me was your energy. I was like, I was tapped in like, I want to talk to her again. So I can kind of see how young people would gravitate towards you, because there's this warmth and genuineness that kind of like just comes out of your essence. And so when you speak about your journey specifically, do you mind telling us a little bit about what that is? And
my journey has been wild.
Like, we can do the Cliff Notes version.
Right. First and foremost, I'm grateful to still be here. I'm grateful to still be alive. I made a post the other day kind of giving just a timeline of my recovery, the last 7 years, and the things that I've been recovering from in the last 7 years. Multiple car accidents. Like I said, I struggled with addiction, struggled with diagnosed mental illness, losing my mom, losing my grandpa, and that's really the only family that I've ever known. My journey has been a lot of solitude as well, being a solo. It's just me, and sometimes I didn't appreciate the village that I had because I didn't recognize it as such. And so I'm grateful to be at this leg of my journey where my village, like, man, I ride for them and they ride for me, and that's such a blessing. Because for a while I felt like I didn't have anyone outside of mom and grandpa. Like, that was it. My journey has been one of self-discovery, in a way of learning that my recovery wasn't solely from addiction and mental illness and, some of the other traumatic things that I went through, but really it's a recovery from the oppressive society that we live in.
Talk about it.
Look,
you know what I mean? Like, because it was after a while, it's like, okay, so I don't, addiction isn't the struggle that it was for me anymore. Even with, bipolar disorder, that's not the struggle that it was anymore. But I still am feeling like I'm in the mud. Like, what's that about, And after reading Rest is Resistance by Trisha Hershey, the Nat Bishop, I was like, yo, that's it. It's this society. It's the world that we've come to accept as normal.
Yeah, this idea that you're not enough.
Yeah.
Like, you have to produce to be worthy.
Yeah.
And so, like, thank you for recommending that book, by the way. We covered it here on Fake Ass Book Club.
Yes.
And I could probably stand to read something out of that, like, every day.
No, like, for real.
Because you really do need to remind yourself, like, you're not a machine. Stop grinding.
Yep. And why would we kill ourselves prematurely, you know what I mean, for a society that doesn't appreciate us, that doesn't value us, that doesn't even see us as human? Like, they don't even see us, like,
they don't see us.
Yeah, they don't see us. Like, that's it. They don't see us.
Conversation yesterday with friends about how exhausting it is to spend time around people who don't view you as human.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a part of you. Like, it's not. We like to tell ourselves, "Oh, I'm strong. It's not affecting me." It is.
Oh, it absolutely is. It affects us in the way that we process information. It affects us in the way that we communicate with ourselves and others. I mean, it affects us in the way of how we show up. You know what I mean? And I realized, we were literally just talking about this a little while ago when being woke strikes again. Like,
dun, dun, dun.
Right? Like, it kind of just makes my skin crawl.
But would you ever want to go back to being asleep?
Oh, hell no.
Exactly.
I was like, ooh.
Fake ass book club.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, like, I would never, and I can't even say that I ever was asleep. I had the privilege of growing up in a household where I had a floor-to-ceiling bookshelf with a full Britannica encyclopedia at the top, multiple different types of dictionaries and thesaurus, and, let alone being able to read the autobiography of Malcolm X when I was like 8 or 9 for the first time. And being introduced to, Maya Angelou, James Baldwin, Marcus Garvey, and these different figures that let me know, like, oh, wait a minute, this is fucked up. Like, wait a minute. So I've kind of always had a sense of awareness. I think I definitely wouldn't want to go back to being willfully ignorant.
Sure.
you know, like,
or trying to numb yourself to it.
Yeah.
'Cause I think a lot of times, you mentioned addiction. I think a lot of times people use all kinds of addictions as escape.
Absolutely.
Not just substance abuse. You can be addicted to all kind of stuff.
All kinds of stuff.
It's because you're trying to like, let me just for one moment not have to be in this reality.
Oh man.
That's honestly been a huge part of my journey, is helping people to see addiction and mental illness from a different perspective. I think a lot of it has to do with our ability or inability to deal, to process what is happening around us, to know that, okay, I'm alive for a reason, but almost everything around me is against me living. Like, that's a mindfuck. Like, if I ever know one, you know? So, it's like I got my godmom in the back of my head, so I keep bleeping myself out, and it's hilarious. I just noticed it. But
that's cuss around here. I try to be better, but it's like sometimes it's like,
self-acceptance. So.
You know? But yeah, I've always tried to get people to see, like, hey, that person may just have a hard time dealing with how they are processing what is happening to them and around them. It's not always just, you know, overindulgence and pleasure. Because I think sometimes people put addiction in a very specific lens.
They see it as a moral failing.
Is
I feel like how until I started going to like Al-Anon and like learning about addiction and stuff like that, it's like where it's like, why can't this person just get it together? Like all this stuff, and it's like, okay, it's a little bit more than that.
Absolutely.
In the same way, because it is a type of mental illness.
It is.
And we, as a society, we understand when we see someone in a wheelchair, we don't expect them to like, well, just get up. Why aren't you just walking like everybody else? As opposed to when you have something that we can't see, it becomes like, now people are just like, oh, you're just being dramatic, or you just need to do this, that, or the other.
By them old bootstraps real quick. That's always the narrative. And then you feel, and when you can't, or when you're struggling to, then you're internalizing that. So now I'm even more of a piece of shit. So now that just kind of that just keeps feeding the machine, basically.
And then you have a society telling you you're not worth anything because you're not producing large amounts of money. So
or we don't like the way that you look, or whatever, you know, like they will find something to dislike. No. And have you ever actually tried to pull yourself up by your bootstrap? Like, I always like,
it's impossible.
Like
physically,
like literally physically impossible. So I hope we can dead that at some point. Like,
that narrative, that myth. I feel like my whole thing is like myth busting, because you can really mess your life up believing in myths, instead of engaging with reality.
I mean, I feel like that's part of the reason why I struggled with addiction for as long as I did, and struggled with multiple reoccurrences or relapses, you know, in my recovery journey, is because I kept believing the myth that I was a horrible person.
And that you kind of deserve to stay in the cycle.
You know? And so, myth busting. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
And what am I going to say? And relapse is part of recovery.
It is.
So don't put yourself down if you fall. Like, if you fall off, like, you're just a person.
That's it. That's it. And if you were actively addicted, actively using for, let's say, a decade, I don't know why we would think in about a year to 5 years time that we just undid all of what just happened the previous 10 years. Like, I feel like it would take that much time, if not even longer, to fully recover and learn how to live again. Because that's the one thing that I had to realize. It was like, okay, yes, I know how to survive. That much is clear. But I don't think I really know how to just live. And that was a game changer for me. What does living look like? What does that feel?
What does living look like for Tasha?
You know what? Living looks like minding my damn business.
Well, and not trying, because that's hard to do.
No, for real. But honestly, living looks like waking up, saying my prayers, feed my dog, letting him out, maybe having to clean his poop, because that's a thing. But honestly, it looks like feeling well within my mind, body, and spirit. It looks like doing things that bring me joy and pleasure on a regular basis, and discovering that pleasure looks and feels a lot of different ways. Living looks like doing things very intentionally and purposefully, no matter what it is. Taking a moment to stop and smell the flowers. You know what I mean? Like living is so vast, and I'm still figuring it out and still discovering something new every day about what it means to live. Yet I'm excited that I'm in that space, because I feel like surviving is implied when you're living.
So have you ever read, because you gave us a book suggestion.
Yes.
Have you ever read Pleasure Activism?
Oh, I have not.
Okay, so we haven't read it on the podcast yet. I just read it just on my own because I was like, I'd heard about it. And it's I feel like it's a good companion piece to Rest is Resistance.
I can see that.
Because it's this idea of not only is rest resistance against sort of the, white supremacist capitalist culture, so it's just taking pleasure in things, like in yourself, in your life. And like I always say, your body belongs to you. Have some fun with it. Like really reveling in your pleasure. It's pretty great.
Pleasure activism.
Pleasure activism.
Okay.
It's really just, to me, like it's a collection of essays, like by Audre Lorde and different people.
Nice.
With the author kind of explaining like why I liked this. So it's,
I like things like that. So my aunt Janet, Janet Cheatham Bell, I'm gonna put respect on her name.
We all got some Aunt Janices right here. We sure do. Yep.
But she's a published author. And so you bringing that up reminds me, she collects famous Black quotations and curates them together. And she actually recently released one for the 21st century. And so it's a new collection of quotes.
That sounds like a good Christmas gift.
That's what I'm thinking. Please go out and purchase. Like, I mean, it's great for students, teachers, and just really anyone that's in the space of speaking or writing. It's really great to kind of just round out your craft. Not only that, I find myself when I'm looking for words of encouragement or inspiration or anything of the sort, I'll crack the book open. Like, it literally sits on my desk. I'll crack it open and just kind of flip to, a section. Because she also sectioned it out, which I love. There's a section for identity. There's I want to say there's a section for recovery, but I could have made that up. But there's these different pieces where she's curated these quotes that I'm like, man, it just reminds me of how powerful words and stories are.
I super love that.
We're big on that here at the F.A.B podcast.
Yes. Absolutely. But I wanted to get into the creative process and rest. Like, I think it's a really dope intersection, and I never really thought about it, but it's a idea that I've heard a lot of creatives talk about, how rest really does, like being able to rest and have downtime gets those creative juices sort of flowing. And Absolutely. So I'm interested to know how rest in general has fueled your creativity and creative process. So
it helped me to fall in love with writing again. Honestly, writing, following in my Andre's footsteps, to be perfectly honest. Writing was one of my first loves, writing, singing, and rest especially. And I would say like the last about year, 2 years, it helped me to reconnect it helped me to realize I wasn't creating enough, that I was honestly creatively like blocked. And so rest has really helped me to hear my own voice, make that clear, because sometimes I'll go on a tangent, or as we like to say around my house, I'll go on an MLK speech. But it honestly, rest helps me to sometimes reconnect with a piece that maybe I got blocked on. It has also helped me to discover other ways of creating that aren't necessarily for public consumption. So I realized I love puzzles. I forgot how much I love puzzles. Like puzzles are a good time. And I love them of all different sorts, the actual like 500 piece puzzles. I also love, word searches and things of that nature. But rest has been this beautiful discovery of self and what it means for me to be an artist and a creative, because it was hard for me to accept myself as such. Like, I didn't see myself in that light.
You know me. I'm always telling everybody, you're an artist. Everyone is an artist. Well, and it's a Picasso quote, like all children are artists.
Yeah.
The the problem is remaining an artist when we grow up and holding on to that like fearlessness. You give kids materials, they just go crazy. They're not scared at all. And then now we get like, oh, well, I'm not good enough. They're going to look at this. And it's like, forget all that. Like anybody who's going to tell you that's not good enough, it's not someone you should listen to anyway.
That part. So rest has been foundational for me fully embracing myself as an artist, for sure.
I love that. So then, like, if that's hard for somebody, if you were giving somebody advice, you know, about what are the steps? Like, how would you tell somebody who's looking to prioritize their rest in terms of their creativity or lack thereof, or just really trying to tap into it?
I feel like first and foremost, you have to want it. I think sometimes we'll say things because it sounds good, but we don't actually want the rest. We don't want to prioritize it, you know, and so that's going to stop you from doing so. So really make sure that that's what you want, because it's definitely what you need, but make sure that is what you want so that you're not going into it begrudgingly, because that'll only stop you from being consistent with it. After that, I mean, you just as much as you make time for that man, woman, or whoever that you probably shouldn't make no time for in the first place, just as much as just as much as, you know, you make time to go to church, you go to work, you know, for the kids and the husband or the whoever, like, you have to prioritize yourself. You have to, and prioritizing rest is prioritizing yourself. And I know that's hard for a lot of us because we're taught putting ourselves first is selfish. And I'm here to tell you, yes, it is. And that's okay. That's okay. Like, there's self-preservation is literally selfishness.
I knew I was doing the right thing.
Like you know,
selfish as hell.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it's okay. Like, I think sometimes we hear the word selfish and we automatically think that is, you know, detrimental to another person, or it's harmful to another person in order to be selfish. And that's not always the case. And even when it is, sometimes that is necessary in order for you to be well. And so prioritizing yourself is definitely key to prioritizing your rest. The other piece is finding ways to rest whenever you can. Like, I've heard a lot of folks, you know, talk about, like, sometimes I'll just sit in the car for like 5-10 minutes before I walk in the house, you know.
Before I go into Meyer.
You know, that's prioritizing rest. Yeah. I think sometimes we have delusions of grandeur. And so we think everything has to be a production. We think everything has to be grandiose, you know, yet that 5-10 minutes in the car, or if you ride the bus, you know, instead of walking your usual way home, you know, maybe go another block over and kind of wind, you know, kind of drag it out just a little bit, you know. I know one thing: get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being still. Get comfortable with quiet. Many people struggle to rest because they don't like quiet. They don't like silence. They don't like being still. They struggle with it.
You're constantly stimulated with the devices, and it's like, I'm used to this constant stimulation, so shutting that down can feel anxiety producing sometimes.
Absolutely. And so we have to, one, learn how to destimulate in a way that isn't like dipping yourself in ice cold water, like not shocking yourself, but like winding down. The other piece of it is learning tools and techniques that can help you in that moment to stay present and grounded so that you don't flee just because it's uncomfortable.
Okay, give us a technique.
Okay. One that's really simple is box breathing method.
Oh, so we say box breathing. I use that all the time.
If we had the production, I just need there to be like a point or something that pops up every time Kat figures that she's winning this conversation.
Yeah. Okay. I rest so much.
I love it.
Let people know, like, box breathing, how that goes.
So box breathing is really simple. So you breathe in for a count of 3 or 4, hold for a count 3 or 4, breathe out for a count of 3 or 4, hold for a count of 3 or 4.
I'm do that real quick.
Yeah. Okay. So we can do it together.
Show the people.
Real quick.
Yeah,
let's do it together real quick. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Release. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. It's a very simple practice, but
I feel better.
Her voice is lower now.
Yeah, like it's the meditation voice. My students talk about me all the time. They be like, "You
It's
just
so
turn
real.
you turn that on and off." Yes.
I feel like I'm in my SNL moment of
Oh yeah,
Sweaty balls.
Like the NPR lady. It's like, hey guys.
very, very nice
Like,
to be
yeah,
here.
we got
so
it
glad
now.
you guys made
But
it back.
yes, like a lot of times
Yeah.
where I feel the cortisol coming up, and I'm like, ooh, I feel uneasy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it feels overly simple because I had trouble like for a while. Like my daughter was having anxiety attacks, and I would try to get her to do the breathing,
Yeah.
and it would take so long to get her to actually try it because she feels like it's not gonna work.
Right.
But see, it works.
It works. One that I have found through studying and observation that works a little better with young people is the 5-finger breath, which is you start here like at the base of your thumb and you breathe in, exhale, breathe in, exhale, because one, it brings you present in the moment.
Oh, and it
It's
feels
embodied
nice.
as
Yes,
well. Like it's embodied.
yes.
You're conscious of your body. And your
Absolutely. And you do that by the time you get here, like
nice.
And it
I'm
feels
trying
like
to tell
a
you.
little massage too. It feels
Just a little
really
bit.
nice.
Just a little
Okay.
bit. Yeah, so that one
And
that
you're
one
like
was one
in
that I
your
learned.
body, like
Yep,
you really
absolutely.
feel. I love that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then one more because I love the number
Let's do
3.
it.
Getting in touch with your 5 senses. So what do you smell in this moment? What do you see in this moment? And I always like to add things. Is there a smell in the room that brings you joy? Is there something that you can see that, helps you to breathe a little easier? Is there something soft around you that you can touch? Or what do you feel in this moment? So like just getting in touch with your senses, like what do you taste? What did you last eat? Was it good? Like, but really coming present in the moment, it helps resist the flight in the fight or flight.
Yeah, that response, that sympathetic response.
Yep, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you want that parasympathetic response to kick in. Yeah, we love all that. Can I also make a suggestion too for
sure.
getting more rest? Kick people out of your life who are not helping you get rest. I
that's
used to
a
have a
real
partner
thing.
who was very critical about how much sleep I needed, and that person is no longer in my life. So yeah.
Now you're preaching right there.
I do that a lot.
I see why you think you're winning the conversation. I see.
She's not just saying them.
I'm just saying I believe
I love
in
it.
this.
I love it. Yeah, no, that's really good. I feel like when you find your tribe and you build your village, it's a motto that I started with the organization. Because that's what I had to do. I had to find my tribe, and then I had to build my village and really rebuild it, reconnect with some of the folks in my village. But when you do that, you will start to attract and repel those who are for you and who aren't, like for real. So no, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Thank you.
And that's great messaging too. I love that, you're in front of young people kind of driving that home, because we were just reading a book, The Anxious Generation, that talks about
I heard
how
about that one.
being, constantly inundated, overstimulated, your concentration is constantly divided. You're not present in the moment. Constant comparison. I mean, the list goes on. It can be really hard to not only connect with yourself, but with other people. So building your tribe, building your community, and really understanding who has your best interests at heart, and building your life around those folks.
Indeed.
Because it's the difference between it's life and death in real terms, but also in psychological and emotional terms. And so I think, Kat and I, our ability to stay connected over the past 30 years has a lot to do with that. Prioritizing it. Like you said, like prioritizing like time together, having experiences together.
And not having like oversized expectations. Like you're just some lady.
In real time, some Yahoo, we just happened to be in class together. Like this was not.
And I'm just some lady. Like I'm
Yeah.
not some superhero of a friend. I'm just some lady.
Yeah.
Like I can show it better at sometimes, but for the most part, like she already know. Like that's the thing. You're never gonna like make me feel kind of way where I'm like, oh, I gotta go lay down.
Yeah.
I'm like,
She fall asleep in the midst of scheduled events. And I know this about her. And I accept it. She'd be like, I'm a single mother.
Like I can. It's real.
That used to be her mantra. I'm like, all right.
I used to.
I didn't have no kids, but I was like, it's
Still
real.
is.
It must
Yeah,
be real.
yeah.
When you bring up your students,
Yes.
I wish I had gotten some of this game earlier.
Seriously.
Like I said, like you have to take a lot of L's a lot of times before you really concretely learn these things. It's great to live in it now, but man, if I had known this earlier, I could have avoided some of
Would you have done it though? You think? Because sometimes we say that, and I'd be like, I don't know.
I got the other messaging more, so
Okay.
it would be hard to know. Cause
fair enough.
I'm still
Fair
finding the
enough.
other messaging.
Yeah, and so are my students. You know what I'm saying? I'm one voice. My twin, my business partner, is another voice. But we're two voices against the
void.
You know what I'm saying?
the internet.
Yeah. It's beautiful to see when my students are applying what they've learned. You know what I mean? We start our sessions. We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4:30 to 6:30. And so we start our sessions with guided meditation because I felt that it was important for us to come present in this moment. Whatever happened before we got in here, it is what it is. But while we're here together in this moment, one, we're going to enjoy each other. But two, we're also going to breathe. We're going to be at ease. We gonna chill out and, you know what I mean? And really enjoy this moment. And so I'm grateful for that, and they're grateful for that, and they reciprocated because, not gonna lie, this past Thursday I ain't have it. I did not have it, but I was like, I let them know out the gate, like, hey y'all, I really don't have it today, but we gonna get through the guided meditation, and after that I'll let y'all know. And after the guided meditation, I still didn't have it, and their response was, we appreciate you for showing up for us today, but like, go take care of you, go eat. Yeah, like, go eat, go do what you need to do, like, we good. And that right there, like,
making space.
Yeah, like
teaching them how to make space for themselves and the people
exactly,
that they love.
Exactly. And that for me is it's more rewarding than any like recognition. Like real talk, like that is cool, like and all of that. But honestly, if they aren't well, like it's like, well, I ain't doing nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like that it's cool that you recognize me as a hero or whatever, because that was wild. Like, I don't know if y'all saw the indie recorder. I saw
you had it on your link tree, and I didn't get a chance to actually go in there and look at it, but I was like, oh, okay, they recognize Tasha. Here.
So the indie recorder, they did an article about the Naptown Narratives, and so the headline is Naptown Narratives or something like that celebrates local hero, and I read it and I was like, what? Yeah. Not because I don't deserve to be seen in that light or anything. I just would never call myself that. I would never.
I think I called myself a hero yesterday.
You do need that. Like, no,
for real. I was like, I'm pretty much a hero. You're a superhero. Like, I really do. But that's the thing. You gotta,
And it's funny because I used to say being able to function well with mental illness is a superpower. So, because it is. Genuinely, it is. So it's funny being called a hero, and I was just like, what?
I stand up in that. I put that above the mirror in the morning.
No, that's right.
Right. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. But what I will say though, when I'm building, what I've noticed about the village that I have sort of created around me, I'm surrounded with people who are and consider themselves superheroes.
Wow.
And I love that.
That's
because
cool.
that's not the energy that I embody, but I lean on her, like I have to tap into that.
Yeah.
When I'm not feeling that or tap
That's
into
real.
you know what I'm saying? So
That's real.
think it's not. I think she's doing the right thing because there's so many other forces, like you guys were saying, that are not trying to knock that down. So like you really, especially when you're young, like if you can really build that sort of that self-love part, something I talk to my kids about all the time. It's like, who are you? And what makes you you, and why are you special? Like, you have to be able to know that for yourself, so other people can't talk you out of who you are.
Absolutely.
Because that's what the world is. Clearly, it's all marketing. We talk about everything, how everything's marketing, and it's like they're trying to, and just being able to recognize that, you know. And so, and on the days you can't believe it, the connection with your community and with the people that you have around you are gonna really count in how you see yourself sometimes.
Absolutely.
So, that's super important. So, can we take a quick break and then we'll pop
I don't know,
in?
Moni.
Can we do that, y'all?
Okay, fine.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, guys. guys, welcome back from the break. So yeah, Tasha, I wanted to tap in with you because, you know, there's this idea of recovery and healing and rest sort of also being at this intersection. And I'm curious to know, how has rest played a role in your healing journey specifically?
If you don't rest, you don't heal.
It's just that simple.
It really is that simple.
Next question.
We did that.
Yeah.
But seriously, you know, I can't stand people who like go to work while sick. Oh, it's you.
Well, you can stand them a little.
You know,
She
and
didn't show up sick today, but I understand what you're saying. The people
you know
who are
what I
like,
mean?
I can't take a break
Like,
because this.
because not only are you only making yourself sicker, but then you're also putting other people in the line of fire. You know what I'm saying? At risk of being sick as well. So if we don't rest, we genuinely don't heal. So for me, I had to be forced to rest multiple times before I finally was like, all right, I quit playing. All right, I'm gonna do it.
No, when you say forced, what was the force?
Oh, baby.
Expound.
So COVID, I got COVID, right? I went into liver failure. And so, yeah, like, you know, almost dying to kind of like change your perspective about some things.
Bit.
Yeah,
just,
I wasn't expecting
just a tad.
That'll force you.
But it was
your liver.
you know? And so that was the first, like, okay, I have to live differently. I have to do something different. My constant go, my constant pushing, 12 plus hour shifts, all of the different things that I was doing, like, I can't do that anymore. Well, I'm hard-headed. And I called myself trying to do different, but was doing the same thing. And so lo and behold, last year, I was forced to rest yet again. And I do believe that it was COVID related. I believe it's long COVID thing. So I had a CSF leak through my sinuses. So cerebral spinal fluid was leaking through my sinuses out of my nose.
I'll leave an article in the notes so y'all can understand how terrible that is.
Like, no, for real. And so all last year, I couldn't lay down. Like, for about a year, I could not lay down to rest. I had to be propped up.
Because of CSF.
Yeah. And the excruciating amount of pain that came with that. Oh my goodness. And so after that, last year I had surgery this January. And so that was another kind of forced rest because the post-op, you know, recovery period, I had to sit down, you know. Let me tell you, that first lay down.
Oh my God.
At first, listen, I never wanted to get up. I never wanted to get up. Like,
but laying down though?
But laying down. And it's wild because even now I kind of struggle to lay all the way down because I got so used to being propped up. But I tell people all the time, take your rest. You have to take it. It's not going to be given. You have to take it because if you don't take it, it'll be forced on you. The Most High, God, Buddha, Allah, however you know, scientifically, like your body will shut down. Like it will force you to sit down if you don't take your rest. So for me, I started understanding, I had to understand that I have to incorporate rest into my life. Like it has to be almost like a lifestyle of living, you know, I know a lot of ladies, you know, living soft and things of that nature, but really it's just prioritizing myself, prioritizing my well-being and moving at a pace that is natural to me. It's not so much about moving slow. It's just moving at a more natural pace. The pace that we are forced to keep up with, or at least try to keep up with, is absolutely unnatural. And over time, your body will not be able to keep up. I think it's why our life expectancy is what it is, because we're not living. First and foremost, we're mostly surviving for real. But then also we're not moving at a pace that enables our body to kind of rest and recover naturally. Like, I don't even think most of us, when we, you know, lay down to rest at night, that we're turning all the way off. You know, I even struggle with that at times where I'm going to lay down and I'm like, all right, so tomorrow I gotta da-da-da. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, no. Let's turn on Pokemon and let's laugh at Pikachu and let's go to bed. Like, that's my wind down.
Okay.
But yeah, no, rest.
So you like the anime?
I do.
up.
I do. I like cartoons, period, though.
Same.
Like
I am childish.
very.
I feel like everything's been getting back to childhood. Like you talked about, you lose that sort of confidence you have as a child and that joy
that just exists. That
naturally.
Absolutely.
And you tapping back into that. There is nothing like just going home with my little plate of food and watching my cartoons.
Listen.
And just, yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, because I realized how insane it was to watch like Law and Order and like,
oh, the murder show?
Yeah, like before going to bed. Like I used to do that like with no issue.
You know what they called it on South Park? Sexy murder shows. And because they were trying to get their parents to stop watching them. Because it's like, all you're doing is just watching stuff about how to kill your spouse. Like, what's going on?
Right. Maybe you should talk to somebody about this.
It's like, well, maybe unpack that.
Man. So like, but I realized like what that was doing for my psyche. And like now, like I struggle to watch certain things. I struggle to listen to certain things. Like I can't keep up, and never have I ever really, but especially now, like I can't keep up with like celebrity gossip and all of this other stuff because
I manage.
That's real. But like for me personally, it's like I already carry so much and have so
Real
much.
life
Like
stuff.
I don't need the added drama.
I always said like with like scary movies, like
Yeah.
I don't need that because real life is scary enough.
No, for real.
Like I'm already kind of scared. So, but what? Did you ever watch Steven Universe?
Yes, I love
Talk about
Steven Universe.
healing.
That's
I feel
good.
like that's such a
Baby.
beautiful visualization of
Yes.
healing.
Yes.
So like,
Yes.
and I actually have some of the songs downloaded. Like
Nice.
Here Comes a Thought. Like
Yeah.
I was like, we sing
Yeah.
that sometimes. You
Yeah.
have to.
Like,
I was
for real.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Like Steven Universe, Avatar.
Oh yeah, The Last Airbender.
Yes, The Last Airbender. There's another one that's escaping me, but I've come to realize like there are some really good gems in some pun. But there are some really good gems in a lot of cartoons out there that it's like, oh well, I can see why I turned out the way that I did versus some of my peers compared to what they were watching. You know what I'm saying? We weren't watching the same thing, so I can see why we have a different perspective on things. Because I was learning about chakras and how to align and balance while they were playing GTA and learning how to shoot people in carjack. Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto.
Oh man.
Balance though, because it was both for me. It was both for me, but I just kind of leaned more into the well-being of things. Like I just wanted to be well, and I think a lot of that had to do with just growing up and watching my mom struggle with being well the way that she did. It was like that was like my number one goal. I just want to be well, y'all. Like I don't care about a career forever. I just want to be well.
I just wanted to be happy.
Yeah.
I wanted to I'm turning myself into a happiness expert because
I love that.
To me, like if you read all these books, you watch all this life, it's like it's nothing if you're not happy. What's the point?
That's
like
the
if
truth.
you're not having a good point, what's the point of making a lot of money or having a lot of fame?
Yeah.
Like we see people go off the end all the time. We have like it's like if you have happiness like that, you won.
I agree.
And the whole time you were saying it, I was thinking like our relationship to time is so skewed and unhealthy.
Yes.
Because I heard you saying like, okay, I want to work at my own pace. I want to just move at my own pace. And I think about like the times where I feel like that I'm like, okay, I'm on vacation. And a lot of times the places I like to go, time does not exist.
Yeah.
They do not
Like,
what is time? And then it got me thinking like how it's a construct. Like it's
It
capitalism.
is.
It's a result of, again, like it's
It's
the whole circular.
It's a form of control.
It's a form of control and how we just really believe that lie. So the flex is, when you do see that that's what it is, taking time for rest, that's what makes it so powerful, is when you're recognizing that like they don't want you to live, they don't want you to pause and consider like what is it that I actually want, because it might actually disrupt.
Oh, absolutely.
The system and what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
That's
It's a
their
radical
greatest fear. That's their greatest fear,
That we
is
would
for their
wake up.
system to be disrupted.
Yes.
Well, because when you say that, it made me think of pimping, which comes up a lot on the show.
The worst.
Come on now.
And
the worst.
and there's all kinds of pimping, but if you think about like sort of the stereotypical sort of street pimping, one of the worst things pimps criticize each other most on is like, oh, you just a rest haven for hoes. Like, you do not let these hoes rest.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they get some rest, they are out of here.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to work them super hard so that they're not resting, they're not thinking, and then you're able to keep pimping.
Yeah.
So, and then you just extrapolate that to everything because everything's pimping.
Everything is pimping.
Everything
That's
is
our
pimping in
actual
our
logo.
society. Like, no, like for real. Like, no, I
right.
talk about that all the time. It's funny because I had a conversation with my ex one time, and I was like, you know, what's the difference between a Mac and a pimp? And he was like, well, you know, a Mac, like, yeah, they want the hoes. They don't need the hoes. You know what I'm saying? Because the Mac could get the money themselves if they need to. You know what I'm saying? He said, but the pimp, he was like, they need the hoes. The pimp ain't gonna make no money without the hoes. And so I looked at him and I said, so to you, what's better, a Mac or a pimp? And he's like, well, you know me, I'm pimping all day, baby. And I was like,
Went over your head. He was so close. I guess that's why he's an ex.
I was gonna say, and we talked about building our village and saying
if you don't know, it's Tasha Mac all day, baby. Okay, a Mac gon' Mac. You feel me? Like,
Tasha Mac.
yeah.
All dressed in black, y'all.
You feel me? Like, you feel me?
Hit the button. Come on. Yeah. So
Yeah, no,
missed
but
it. He missed the lesson.
yeah,
It's
he
okay.
did. He did.
It's okay.
Still got a lot of love for him, but you know, it
And
is
we
what
gotta
it
learn
is.
our lessons at the time we gotta learn them. He
That
ain't there
part.
yet, so you know,
That
hopefully
part.
he finds his way.
I hope
yeah.
so.
You know what
I
I'm
hope
saying?
so.
But yeah, it's definitely. I think I love anybody in this space who is making it their job to amplify this message, because I don't think that we get this enough, and I really love
Agreed.
the trajectory of, you know, where your storytelling and your art is taking them. Like I said, I mean, I instantly felt a connection, so I'm really excited and happy to have a platform to amplify this myself and
Grateful to
get
be
people
here.
in on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause this is
yeah.
really important, and it's like I said, I mean, her sign off is, you know, your body belongs to you, but my thing is like, you gotta find time for the things that make you feel good, the things that
Yes.
make you happy, because this life will drag you.
yeah, you need to
Okay,
do what
and
you
you will
like
be-
and like what you do.
Exactly, because
Indeed,
it
indeed.
creates space for it, and make time for it, because it is important. It's what makes us feel like it matters, you know. And I think
Absolutely.
when you get into a space where you don't understand why any of this matters, this is where the addiction comes in. This is where the, you know, escapism comes in, and
Yep.
the lack of connection and domination
and abuse, and that's where the
and
abuse comes in.
Yep.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't even really tap into abuse
we
because
didn't.
that's a whole nother.
Whole
Y'all might have to
Maybe
bring me
next
back.
time.
I was like, y'all might have to bring me back. You feel
Definitely
me?
bring you back. Hopefully you will come back. Which I
Absolutely.
want you to let people know, like, what do you like looking forward? What kind of projects and stuff like that? Do you
Oh,
have coming up?
absolutely. So shout out to my students again. So we're actually working on a mindfulness journal together to be published hopefully within the next year. But it's something that has been really cool to see come together, like us taking, you know, what they learn in their curriculum and what they learn while they're with us, and creating something that even if you don't go through our program, you can still tap in to, you know, what we do in terms of prioritizing rest in our lives. So that's something to look forward to. Me personally, I am back working on my podcast. This has been in the making for some years, y'all. Yet I'm finally well enough to see it through. So I'm
Is
excited for that.
podcasting hard?
You know, just a teach.
Just a little? Okay,
Just a teach. It's really been a matter of trusting myself in the process
Yeah.
and not.
Well, I got a partner.
Right. I'm like
Listen.
blind confidence. Just go into it. Unstoppable moron. Just go in it with that energy.
So it's been a matter of, you know, not giving up perfectionism. Giving up perfectionism. That was absolutely driving me insane. Absolutely driving me crazy. And so giving that up, I'm now in a space where I feel like I can just be in the production of this podcast. So I'm excited for that.
What's it
I'm hoping.
called?
So it's called Live Simply. It's really just embracing all of that is an acronym that you know what? Become a patron.
There you go.
Become a
I know that's
patron.
right.
Y'all want to know
Don't
the
give away this
details?
game for free.
Listen, you
Back
hear
on
me? You hear me? Become a patron. Patreon, Transparently Tasha. You can also find me on IG as Transparently Tasha. My website, transparentlytasha.com. I do believe in branding, okay? So You can really find my blog on my website, Patreon. I often do audio versions of my blog because, not everybody likes to read. And then there's also a lot of bonus content on there. You'll also get updates in terms of the journal progress and any other progress on my projects that I have coming up. But I'm really just excited to embrace writing as my art form and seeing where that takes me. That's what's ahead. Yeah.
Love that.
It's so nice, Tasha. I feel like we've
You know,
known
it
each other
fast.
forever.
It
did.
I want to talk for 45 more minutes.
Just right, real quick.
Real quick.
Yeah, but we can't keep you because you got the event and stuff today.
Yeah.
Super grateful that you made time for us on this busy day. It's just, I can't even say enough good things about Tasha. So you guys, she just told you where you can find her. Definitely check her out. We're looking forward to seeing any and everything you are a part of coming up. This is super dope. And
you can find us next Saturday, October the 5th at, let me pull up my little thing. Make sure I give you the right information because you're at the F.A.B podcast. Okay, the Arts Connect show, 3rd annual show. And there's going to be over 80 booths of graffiti, street artists, painters, tattooers, photographers, videographers, creators, streetwear, art for sale, live painting, live music and DJs, and much more, including your girls. The Fake Ass Book Club will be there podcasting live October 5th at the Maryland Rose Center. So yeah, we'll be there. I think our thing starts at, do we have a time?
We'll put it in the notes.
Yeah, we'll get the times and stuff like that. But yeah, just know next Saturday, that's where you can find us.
Yeah, it's going down.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
I mean,
it's like, like I said, so much gratitude for this podcast. I love to be in this space because I feel like I've met so many dope people, including yourself, Tasha. And yeah, we're going to continue to connect. Connecting is so important. And I hope you guys are doing that in your everyday life because it's what makes life good. So get out there, connect with people, do the stuff you love. We don't have to spin the wheel because we told you we're going to be recording live next week. So be looking forward to that. Guys, like, share, subscribe to our Patreon, support us.
And leave a comment.
Yeah, talk back.
It makes us feel so good. You know how like when you're at your job and your boss tells you you're doing a good job? That's how it feels for us. Cause yeah, we're just out here, man.
Absolutely. Sharing what we know with you guys. Hopefully you found this episode as inspirational as me. Cause I again, like I said, this is just such an important topic. So you guys, we'll see you back here next week. Hopefully you enjoyed the show and peace. Till next time.
Gratitude for having me, ladies.
Bye. Thank you, Tasha.
Bye.
Before we go, we must give thanks to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another Fake Ass Book Club. Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again, and until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.